the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today. Welcome to the desert of the real. What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out!
What is the Matrix? It is control. The pitch. We are the land of the free and home of the brave. The reality. We are all just slaves to the system. Debt is slavery of the free. The robots are coming. The robots are coming. The idea that what we create to serve us ends up ruling us. Stefan Molyneux. Stefan took an interesting take on the Terminator and the Matrix. Brought an interesting thing. That we have this primordial fear of what we end up creating ends up ruling us. And in both movies, there's a deep down issue that we create machines, but the machines end up ruling us. We created a government by and for the people. Now we have the IRS on our back, pharmaceutical companies drugging us, the world's largest prison population, military spending that outspends the entire world, Wall Street that gets bailed out on top of taxpayers. Shock and awe, oil companies, torture, military bases all over the world, a crashing dollar, and a completely out of control deficit, coups, the government that we once created by and for the people to act as a guardian of our freedoms now enslaves us. So what we have created is enslaving us. Can you say moo? Stefan goes further out on a limb and makes this awesome insight on slavery and statism. We own cows because they produce goods and services that are in excess of the upkeep of the animal. Early empires conquered other nations to gain slave labor to fuel their empires. The slaves produced excess goods and services beyond what it took to provide for themselves. The process of hunting, capturing, breaking in, and owning animals was the same process as owning slaves. The empires that grew the most through slavery were guided by an elite who profited off the system that they created. The elite, quote-unquote, farmers needed a system to capture and maintain their slaves. They had originally an enforcer class that was higher up on the food chain. They were the slave drivers in the military that was the muscle behind the organization. When the agricultural technology improved to the point where it produced the capital to found the Industrial Revolution, the elite farmers needed their livestock to go from the country to the cities. These serfs were much more valuable to the elite, mass-producing capital goods instead of just food. In an effort for the elite farmer to come up with a better urban inventory management, many chose very restrictive means of forcing their slaves to work. Others came up with more of a free-range approach that allowed their slaves the illusion of freedom, but never the ability to get off the elite farmer's farm. This freedom is given to slaves not to make them free, but to make them vastly more efficient. China is a perfect example of how much more productive serfs can be if you give them more room to move. The Chinese elite changed inventory control from a communist, restrictive one to a state capitalistic one, with no political freedom. So if you look at the political and economic movements of the 20th century as an elite inventory control, the true history was a battle of the most efficient inventory management system. The inventory is us. At the end of the 20th century, state capitalism, represented by the American class, proved to be the most competitive system, as the American system conquered the communists, Nazis, and the monarchies. The American system outproduced all other inventory management systems. The elite allow additional freedoms to their slaves only to perpetuate the illusion of freedom and to increase the productivity for the elite. The elite saw that there was no longer politically profitable to keep slaves without the political freedom. And the same thing goes with women. Think of the feminist movement. It was funded by the elite to give women more freedom. Gloria Steinem was a paid CIA operative who was the main leader of the feminist movement in the 70s. Because of this movement, now the elite have more workers, less supervision on the children, more abortions, more divorce, and a disintegration of one of the greatest weapons against the elite. Women raised and nurtured the families and created happy, healthy, independent children. We already know that those people are not susceptible to the elite's game. They were also the glue in the communities that was a support system for many of its members. To further this illusion of freedom, the elite farmer gave the livestock the choice to choose how the farm is run. We know this as elections. We are given the choice, but never the choice to shut down the farm or change the system.
When someone, a foreigner say, loans money to the American government, what are they getting in return? Well, they are getting promises of interest payments and eventual repayment of the principal. Where does your government get this money? The government is not a business. It does not generate profits in the free market. So where does it get the money to repay its creditors? Are you beginning to understand that it is not dollars that are being sold, or bonds, or agency debt, or treasuries, or anything like that? Where is your government going to get the money to pay off its creditors? It's not pieces of paper, or contracts, or computer bits that are being sold. There is only one thing that the government has to sell. Governments have only one asset that they can use as collateral. Your leaders are selling you. When China lends $800 billion to your government, what they get in return is a guarantee that $10,000 plus interest will be taken from your family at gunpoint and shipped overseas. When a farmer gets a loan from a bank, he uses his livestock as collateral. It is the milk and meat his cows will produce in the future that he will use to pay off his loan. The bank is buying a share in his cows. You are the livestock that your leaders use as collateral. The leaders that you cheer for and throw parades for and drop balloons behind and donate money to are selling you to Chinese rulers, to the Japanese, to the Nigerians, to South American drug lords with accounts in the Caribbean banking centers, to Russia, to Korea, to Egypt, to Colombia, to Chile, to the Philippines, to Malaysia, and anyone else who is willing to give them a few dollars in return for the blood, sweat, and toil of your future. The flag that you praise and the anthems that you sing and the rulers that you weep and kneel before have as much loyalty to you as a plantation owner had to his slaves. And sadly, plantation slaves had more pride than we do. Plantation slaves did not generally praise their masters for selling them off, for auctioning off the lives, hopes, dreams, and futures of their own little children. We can understand that cattle may lick the hand of the farmer who lowers an axe to its neck, because cattle are dumb beasts that cannot comprehend their real relationship with the farmer and his imminent plans for them. What is our excuse? When we chant, USA, 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 when we cheer and bow and beg and scrape and sing and weep with joy that some new farmer now presides over the wholesale dismantling and sale of our family's futures, when we love with obsessive emptiness the leaders who laugh while they auction us off to every tin pot dictator and stockbroker the world over, what is our excuse? Has our pride been so broken that we lunge with pathetic joy at every new silver-tongued demagogue who pretends to care for us even a tiny little bit? In the future, our children will demand to know why we knelt and cheered as they were sold off on the auctioneer's block. This video, and my life's work, is my answer to my child.